Hi, today we're going to show you our project for software engineering with tests, in which we call it payment system, that me and my partner Christoph made. The payment system consists of 4 classes, to which 2 of them are made for constructors, getters and setters, and the other 2 are for methods that needs to be used for creating a system. To emphasize that, we made the employee class as a constructors and getters and setters, and the employees class are made for methods and created that need to be created for the system. So, for example, the employees can have methods that can add employees, find current employees, and fire employees. To create this project, we use a build tool called Apache Maven. Now, there is a lot of other build tools on there, or pipelines that we could use, like Jenkins, into which they have kind of a similarity, but also a lot of differences. Apache Maven are more into a build tool category, while the likes of Jenkins are into continuous integration category. Although there are some other build tools out there, but these 2 are one of the most famous build tools that a lot of bigger corporations uses in their system. To build our build tool, we made a POM file and created the project system, into which we put in the necessary plugins to use for testing the system using the Maven lifestyle. The plugins are then grouped into different dependencies depending on which they need to be grouped with. To make the system in the class, some solid principles are needed to be used to create the methods and to code the methods that is used to test. So in the employees, we can see here that the SRP method, or as we call single responsibility principle, is used around here. The add employee is responsible for the add employee method, and the find employee around here is responsible for looking at the array list if the employee's name is already in the index of the array list. The current employee is to use to get the current employee to print out their name or the employee ID as we see here. The current employee will then use a find employee method to locate the employees that is saved in the array list. And then last part here is the fire employee, in which this method is to fire employees. The fire employee as well, we use the find employee method to locate the employee's name in the array list. Also, one of these solid principles that we saw to create a system is called open-close principle. In the open-close principle, we see that it's used mostly for testing, as the methods are void. But we can still see here that we can still use the open to extension on the employee test class, but the voided method, they are closed for modification, as void methods cannot be returned. Now we are going to demo our payment system project, and we're going to use the Maven lifecycle to test our methods. So in here we made a class called employee test, and we made it before each here to initialize or set up before the testing starts. So I just made a string around here, testing for employment payment system, just to find out that we are gonna start a test. So our first test is to add the emp name test. The emp name test, we get our employee class here as private, and then we new it, and then we kind of determine as my name, and then we get our emp ID as 01568, for example. And here we put in an assert API called assert equals, and to be expected as the same around here is my name, and then we use the getters in the employee class, in which we call it emp here to get emp name. It's the same as for the emp ID is we have the emp ID here as 01568 for our employee class, in which we put as private in the employee test class. And then we made an assert equals as well on the assert API, and we should expect the same setup ID here, same here, and we use the getters from our employee class in the emp. And the third part is the add employee class, in which our add employee class is a Boolean method. So we are going to say that for the add employee, we're going to say that you added some employee name and ID, and say that it's true. So here we say that this emp list, and then the add employee method from the emp list method, in which we employee, and then we have a method in the employee class to create an emp, in which takes two variables, in which we name, called name, and emp ID. So here we should expect the same name as we got from here, and the emp ID as we got from here. And then just put in another API from assert called assert true. Then we put in list as emp list is true. Same goes for the find employee test, in which it is a Boolean method as well. Say that are you gonna fire the employee? True or false. So we have the same style as the add employee test here, and but it's less than but it's not named class as for our method in the emp list in the fire employee method. We gotta get emp name. Well, we want to get emp ID as well, so should be get emp ID, but when you get ID, so it's a bit of mishap under that part. But for and then the current employee test, we put in as a string, and because this is what is the string method on here, current employee, So near the same style a bit, here's this with the emplist method, and we said we actually, I forgot to say this, we state here the emplist in the emplist class, and then one of the variables under this M system, which we just say it's a string, we just say employee payment system. So depending on the current employee test, here the current employee will find its ID number, and we set here, seeing this is all the assert equals, in which 001568 expected, and we just say the current employee around here. So we're going to try to test it using the life cycle of the Maven. So I'm just going to clean up for a bit. So now we're ready to test. See how it's going to do. Yeah, so we didn't really fully execute the test in our project for the payment system, as we know that our methods that I created are hard to execute on the unit tests. I found out that unit tests are only testing for simple methods that need to be used, simple codes that need to be used, and not really complicated ones. So we here in emplist, we kind of use a lot of array lists, in which we use two classes from the employee class, and most of the examples that I saw are only using, well, they kind of use two classes as well, but mostly just for simple codes that you just need to be tested before the fully code develops. I found out late, so in here see the errors are mostly null pointers and a lot of null pointers. The zero failures, so can't be run in a package, so it's not really complete test for most part. And because of this, a lot of failure, it's hard to see the reports if I run the package to get the report for the project. And yeah. And yeah, so we can run a report to it. So yeah, I'll end my video here, and my partner can explain his part of the project, which is the salary class, and how he tests the salary class. Thank you.